Hi, and welcome back to Yeti at Large. Recently we had to do a plumbing project here at our pile of sticks, and I wanted to give you just a brief overcap in case it could help you with some challenges you might be facing. This is the main water inlet to the house with the pressure regulator and a hose bib. This is where the service enters the house from the public utility, and as you can see looking at this picture, it's a mess. Not only did the pressure regulator fail, but I think I counted 19 different junctions, which several of them are leaking if you look at the discoloration on the pipes. And the worst part was the hose bib was dripping directly into the water shutoff valve, very far below the surface level of the ground. And in the wintertime, it can freeze hard here, and you would not be able to get into your shutoff valve to turn off your water in the event of an emergency. So I have enough experience, and I'm aware that the local regulations don't prevent me from doing my own work on this side of where the utility's responsibility ends. So I began by making some careful measurements and drew up a basic plan of what I wanted to change, and the main goal here was to simplify. I found a similar size pressure regulator with good ratings, and I determined where I could make some minor adjustments to correct the issues that I didn't like about the previous installation. You can see that I had to excavate quite a ways below grade, and I found where the flex line transitioned into a copper line from the water meter, which is about 25 feet from where this location is. So I started there at the flex line, and I recreated the connection with fresh pipe. And you can see I really cleaned up the stub that comes out of the house because it was good. There was plenty of pipe left, and I squared it off, and we went from there. I was inspecting my soldering job with the first 90-degree down, and you can see I over soldered and had to come back, lightly heat that a second time, and wipe it with a slightly damp rag with a little flux on it to clean that mess up. As we're partway into the project, I built downward towards the expansion joint where I could mechanically separate the two lines if I had to ever come back in and work on it again. Yes, you can see where I overheated the 90-degree elbow going down, and I got a little heat on the side of the house. It would have been best if I had put up a little piece of sheet metal or some sort of a shield to stop the heat from getting to the house. Later in the project, I sanded that down and repainted it, and I cleaned up all of the copper pipe to make sure that it looked pretty too. So here we are with our final assembly, and you can see that I have a basic pressure gauge on it, and I've got the water set right at 50 pounds. I made the adjustments per the instructions on the pressure regulator because I thought a little lighter pressure in the house, not only would it save me water, but it might take it easy on some of the old fittings that I have in the house. The main place where I made my adjustments with the measurements was that vertical piece of pipe that goes into the expansion joint. That was where the measurement had to be exact to join the two pieces of pipe. You can see where I turned the ball valve for the hose bib 90 degrees to run parallel to the house so that in the event it was left open or it started to leak, it would not fill up the shutoff valve on the house. And yes, since it freezes here, I went back and I did a double layer of insulation. There's one set of split foam on the inside, and then a second set of much larger split foam on the outside of that. In the wintertime, I'm not going to use that hose bib, and I don't have any garden hoses connected to it, so I want it well protected. What you can't see in this picture is the temperature sensitive heat tape that I have applied to the pipe underneath the insulation. There's a plug not too far from this location, and I plugged that in. The nice thing about this heat tape is it has a built-in thermostat, and it only comes on when the temperature gets cold enough to represent a risk of freezing so that we don't have frozen pipes, but we're not wasting a lot of electricity. Again, I recommend stay within your skill set, know your local ordinances, and if you have to go ask for a permit to do plumbing work, deal with a contractor or your local building inspector. Always utilize please and thank you. Phrase things in the form of a question. It'll be amazing what people can and will do to help you if you're in a position where you've done your research and you're well thought out. If you do have to have a licensed and bonded contractor come in, you can save yourself a lot of money by doing the excavations ahead of time, removing any shrubs or debris out of the way, and basically making it easy for them to come in and apply their expertise where it's best suited. You can also go to your local state and city municipal statutes and determine where utility companies' responsibility ends and begins. And maybe you can find a little bit of help if you understand where the utility company should be working with you and where you're on your own. Most times when it's on your side of the meter, you're going to be on your own. I really want to thank you for joining us and helping out with this today. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment below for any future topics you'd like to see. We found this little guy cruising around up by the street, and I've relocated him back into the garden. We love our wildlife here at the Pile and Yeti at large. He's going to be very beneficial to maintaining insect populations naturally and not having to use a lot of harsh chemicals that I don't like.